So the stock Miata has this little lead that's bolted to metal, which will give us an earth. Not 100% sure if we're going to use that yet, or whether I should lift up. I'd like it to be on the same earth as the ECU is going to be. So what we might do is lift up the carpet, take a look at the ECU, take the plate off of the ECU, and then we can decide if we want to use the same bracket down there. Either way, we're going to need some cables so we can extend out the positive. So we're going to have a couple of power cables on here at one point with a few gauges. So we're going to extend out the positive, bring it round through here, and then we can lift the carpet and take a look for for good ground. Careful, turns out these screws are not ferrous. Snip, snip. Let's move these to somewhere where I won't knock them too far away. So what I'm looking for is a way to just pull the carpet out. And there's a little bit more trim here. Here's a water build up there. Let's keep an eye on. And there's a small panel clip up here that you just got to pop out. Flat bladed screwdriver should do that for you. Just like that, right at the back. Screwdriver in the side, just pops forward and releases. Put that with the other screws to go with the trim parts. And take a look for any other. Anything else that might be holding it in place. It doesn't look like there is. Now it'll be similar to what you have on door trims. Okay, just kind of clips in to a few places down there. If you're just gentle with it, doesn't look like we broke anything off. We are good. Okay, screwdriver's out of the way. Light's even back in place. Good, okay, small bit of polystyrene, so I'm just going to give you the carpet nice and flat. We should be able to remove our ECU. So let's see how many bolts we've got in there. 1, 2, 3 down the bottom. There's some threaded rods that don't seem to go into anything apart from polystyrene, and 2 across the top. Looks like they're 10mm. Okay. I'm pretty happy to use an impact gun on there. I don't think we're going to be breaking anything. One, 2, 3. Again, 2 at the top. Keep these with the same screws as the trim, so everything we do over here we have all together. Okay. Two at the top. One's slightly different. We've got a nut and one's actually a bolt. The bolt is on the top right. All the others are nuts. Let's have a look at it. Look at that. Get in there. While I was back there, I just disconnected the battery again. Should always do that. Yeah, and it looks like the ECU itself just rests on everything. So I'm just trying to see. Looking for an earth point, or maybe a bit closer to here. That's going to be close to the ECU. I'm just trying to see if the ECU has one dedicated. First glance, it doesn't seem to have one. I guess it bolts down pretty firmly to everything down here. So I've done it. I've just got the multimeter, switched it around to ohms. I want to see the resistance between this and the bodywork. .5 ohms. The battery is low in this, but it looks pretty good at 0.5 ohms. So I'm able to use the earth that's up here, and I'll give it a little clean up just to make sure it's good. We'll bolt all the earth that go into gauges onto this little bolt here, along with the stereo. So I'm pre-preparing. So I'm getting ready for additional gauges that are going to go in there. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a 3-to-1 connection, which I'm also going to bond with one of these butt connectors. Really, if you haven't done this before or used these things before, it's probably a good idea to do a little test. So while we wait for this little guy to heat up, let's just introduce what we're up to. Okay, so we currently have our cigarette lighter. Okay, we are taking the positive leg cable and bringing it out, and then let it loop back. We're going to put the butt connector on, and we have 3 fly leads like this, all positive. So no colour code, not important. Alright, that's a bit of a lie until you have to troubleshoot later. So do try and colour code if you can. If you can't colour code with the cables, you've only got one colour, do make sure you put a little bit of tape around it, right on the tape. Okay, it's annoying, but it's well worth doing now. If you haven't done something like this before, and I haven't used these butt connector for quite some time, it's worth doing a little dry run just to make sure everything's good. So try and get your forgotten what this is called. Tin up this. Okay, get a nice thin layer of it. Make sure it's hot enough to untouch. A little thin layer. I'm going to put underneath, and as the wire heats, I'm going to feed in the solder. I think the iron's still soldering iron. That's what it's called, soldering iron. A little bit cold still on that test run. That's what that looked like. Okay, so this is a particularly bad one. As you can see, there are streaks of copper still through it. I wanted to make sure that was a good coating, but that's fine. That's what we're just discovering now. Was the butt connector. We'll poke it in there, really, and then I'm going to use this guy. to squeeze it all together, I think. Make sure he's good. Go a little bit further along. Same again. That's pretty good. I can probably actually pull that apart, which is a bit disconcerting. I don't think this crimp's very good, so I'm going to use the middle part. There we go. That's it. Now we're just pulling the shielding back and not there. So pretty happy with that process. So for this end, 3 cables twisted together. So we need to be really careful that we get plenty of solder through these. So hopefully the iron should be pretty damn hot now. So we just tin up the iron. You should be able to feed all the solder into there. You want to be as quick as you can. Once you've got a good layer of solder on there, it will conduct heat a lot faster. If you do need to touch up, don't worry with that. We'll wait for that to cool down a second. While that's happening, make sure you've got some heat shrink. Okay, any connectors we're going to make, we might as well put a heat shrink on there to try and protect them. I'll push those over and pull them back for the moment. Use a slightly larger butt connector for this one. Yeah, when you're happy, you want to make sure that's well and truly in there. Okay, so the other end, we're going to try and strip back some of the wire, fold in half, tin it up, just to make a slightly larger, bigger conductive area. Then we're going to put it in the other side and poke it through. With these 2 little fly leads, I'll put some electrical tape over the ends just to make sure they don't ground themselves out on anything. And then we'll just tuck them away until the day we need them. Okay, so over here I've spliced the cable apart, rejoined it, added solder so it'll give it a better clasp in the connector. If you can, just splice into it or cut into it and put a box connector. They're all valid methods.
Just make sure we are in there enough. Make sure we're going to get a good hold. That we can do. You can hold your finger where it went in. See, that's not going in enough. We want to try and squeeze that down a little bit. Okay, the solder is relatively soft, so you should make a really good connection.
added protection. Put the heat shrink on, and then use a lighter. Be absolutely certain the battery is off when you're doing this work. Next thing we need to do is get all these wires through to where the gauge pod's going, and then I guess we can stop. Okay, after struggling for a while, it's probably a good idea to wrap all these up together. There you go, a little bit of masking tape or whatever tape you've got on hand. Then you want to get a hand under here. And try and pass it down so you can feel it. And then you can see, yeah, you can't see, but if you could see, you'd see the miracle happens. I'm going to pass all of it back through. And then I'm going to put just the connector out for the lighter just back. So now should I see our cable through here? Only one of those is currently open and available, whereas the other two I'm going to put masking tape over, electrical tape, just so we can just leave them sitting to the back, maybe with a little symbol on them telling us that they're what are they? They're live ignition cables, plus 12 volts. Okay, time for a short update. So far, the gauges, the main power, and the earth, or the ground, is in place. The white wire, again, this is a MTX-L Plus AFR gauge. The white wire is used to, when you turn the lights on, to dim. It's a signal to dim the lights, so it's not quite so blind that light. We'll see how well that works out. But either way, that goes into the black and red wire from the stereo. Again, 1993 Miata, and do double check that. So plug the battery back in, make sure you're all clear wires, turn the ignition on, turn the lights on, so make sure you get a signal there when the lights are on. Turn the lights off, make sure that signal goes away. So that'd be voltage you're looking for across that. Yellow wire is still remaining. That will go to the I'm hoping that will go into the wire that's currently there for the narrow band. So once I've got the narrow band out, I'll cut the wire, try and draw all the way back as far as I can to here, or vice versa, run a cable that way, and that will become my wire that'll then goes into the same place on the stock wiring loom. That saves having to do any wiring changes to the excellent loom that comes with the NA6 plug and play. So next up, let's plug everything back in, or at least for now. One, and two. Should be specifically for the radio. The ground is already wired up. This should be able to get tucked in, and I just lift all the other ones out, so we can guide it all back into place, like so. We'll make sure all our copper wires are still in place. Our serial cable, you can see that down there, just comes through down here. It's loose on the floor at the moment, but it can easily get coiled and tucked back up. Okay, so one thing I'm seeing is that on this side, Screwbury and Proud just stopped it from being able to clip in. So we look good. So, I'm going to start a slight ripple effect in the middle. Still don't like it. So it's a bit prouder than I'd planned because of these, but it is going to sit. This is going to sit underneath the shroud, so we'll have a look at that again once we can start buttoning things up. Okay, serial cable in, AFR gauge, AFR wideband sensor next. Okay, wideband in there somewhere. So let's remove the airbox stuff. Won't be doing that for a little while, so let's get that out of the way. Now we want to remove the original narrowband. We're going to replace it with our awesome new wideband. So we got one of these for. Hopefully this should provide us a little bit of resistance. Trying to get it out. You see it's got an open cut on one side, so we can go around the wire and some of this bit. You can get some sort of ratchet system on it. Hopefully throws it open. It is a 22 mil, I think, so if you've got a 22 mil open wrench, you might be able to use it with that too. But we're going to give it a go with this first. Let's have a look. Let's do so we can get put it on. Okay, that feels like it's on. And one of these little bars. Let's see if that will work first. It's the cutest little fly in here. That might work if you had a breaker bar on it. That's probably not going to work. Ooh, we might have got it. That'll be first time. I'm not sure we want to test it. Maybe we'll just end the show there and walk away. Things I'm doing. Probably should have undone the wire first, because I'm just finding the twist of the wire, but I'm too excited to find out. Look at that. By George, we've done it. By bloody George. Okay. So, depending on the type of gauge you're using or the type of kit you bought, will depend on what you do here. If you've got a gauge that, actually no one, it probably is the same. We're going to cut pretty damn low this end rather than towards the I forgot what that's called, the connector for this. So there is a, follow this wire. So I've disconnected the other end of the AFR. No, it's not an AFR. It's a narrowband wire. And I'm just hopefully, it's a 12mm, might need a socket for it. Okay, just the needle that flies. Now, that's through. There's one other clip underneath the ignition coils, which is what's stopping it coming all the way through. I have no idea how I got out of that bottom clip. There's that. There it is, that's all it is. One narrowband. Okay, let's see how we put this new one in. That's fine. That's all I was doing. Because during the calibration this has to be out in the oxygen, I think. Let me just double check that. Okay, so it does look like. So as per the manual, we need to calibrate with the sensor in free air. So we won't connect that in now. Did test the thread was good, and it should all fit fine. Return the cap to the sensor. Return the cap to the sensor. That should just keep it safe while she's lying around the engine bay. Before I've done that, we can get on with preparing the old wire for use with the new system. Okay, so we've got our little wire, which obviously is going to need to be extended. So instead of going to the sensor, this wire will loop back all the way around to the AFR gauge, which will then give out the signal. It'll go back into this wire. So it'll be a signal wire, single wire going back to it. So all we're going to do is we're going to chop it and solder up some black wire to extend it. We'll put lots more than we need, and we'll just trim it back once we know the length that we actually want. So first thing, we need to trim that. So there we go. Okay, once that's in place, wire strippers, very good investment that I should have done. Got rid of frayed wires. Then we're going to grab the then we grab the trusty soldering iron, and we're going to tin that up. While we're waiting for the soldering iron to heat up, we'll prepare some of the signal cable. Okay, how long it is, as long as we need to cut it back rather than extend it again. It's only a little car. Same again. This one gets strip on both ends. Okay, make sure you haven't got too much oil on your, make sure you don't have any oil on your fingers when you're doing this, because when you twist the cable, you will kind of mess up what you're going to be soldering. Get some weight. Cable easy to manage. Get some more weight. And drink some tea. So now we've got our extended wire. We can put everything back in place. We want this wire to thread into the bulkhead. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn the connector into place. We're going to clip it down quite yet until we've worked out we've got the full thread run. See, there are a few pipes and cables that we want to work our way around. That clip I had all that trouble with. Yeah, now I want to make sure we go back into there. And it seems if we pull it, hold it still on the far side and pull it forward from this side, seems that we get a pretty good grasp of what's going on. The rest of the cable underneath. We're going to get it away from the engine as quickly as we can. And it looks like it'll go through the bulkhead pretty much where the join in the cable is. Just about to go through. So we need to work on getting a bung or a gasket for that. Back into the driver's seat. On the driver's side again. You can see the cable pretty much from, so that bulkhead gap was from the old cruise control module that I removed, which is pretty straightforward. There are a few videos online for that one. Let me know if you need to see something about it though. And then I'm going to thread it up. So just threading it up the side, only enough so I can grasp it. Inside the bulkhead, and there it is. This is going to join to the yellow cable, and we'll make our complete loop back through to the signal wire. So this cable's already been tinned, and we go straight with a butt connector. Really, that should give us our complete loop. So on the increasingly cluttered desktop, we should have one more cable left to install. So here's the extension that goes from the wideband to the gauge. Again, all the input, all the information is going to come from the wideband to the ECU. There's no direct links between the wideband and the ECU. By the look of the firewall, this end is going to go through the firewall from inside the engine bay, and this end's going to stay inside the engine bay, as that's not going through any firewall I've got. This should be one of our easier tasks. The bigger issue will become later when we try to mask and hide off these wires. We have got quite a lot of space down there. Once we've got the heat shield in place for the intake, this will work out quite nicely. So just adjusting for size, and looks like we're almost perfect. So I'm going to pop under the in the driver's seat, and if you can tell me where to stop. This is quite a large cable. We're going to want to be careful when we're doing the tidy up to make sure that doesn't get caught up with anything important in the driver's seat. So checking out the connections here, this is a SpeedyEFI connector. I'll just clip into there and then we'll be done. Just because I've still got the original ECU in, I'm disconnecting the AFM digital feed, and got to plug in the other end of this into the gauge. Then we can apply power. Actually, we can try to situate it, apply power, and see if everything works as they told us it would. Back under here again, fairly straightforward path from here towards the gauges. No problem there. Pull that through and see, there's only one cable this should fit to, and it has a little clip alignment, so it should put it in upside down. It definitely won't clip in. We'll put it in this way, it definitely will clip in together. So again, on the wires, yellow signal wire, white is the illumination dimming, optional, but if we've got it, let's see if it works. Black is our ground, red is our power tapped into the cigarette lighter. Let's see if we can hide some of these cables for a moment. Okay, so as far as I'm aware, we have nothing connecting the AM to anything down there. Stereo's in, gauge is, sensor is currently disconnected. So what we can do, we're going to connect the power, we'll go to ignition, we'll do the calibration setup now. Back the indicator flashing, the battery connected again. I've got a weird battery sound. Okay. With the sensor disconnected, apply power. When power is applied, all 3 digits will light up and the needle bar will sweep once. We saw that. Then the letter style will turn status light, turn red, and Ep2 will display. This is an error code because there's no sensor. Leave unit pad on for a minimum of 30 seconds. Okay, power down. Attach oxygen sensor using the cable. Make sure it's fully locked and is in free air. Okay. Not want that. Okay, it's hanging over the edge. Power up. Display should sweep. If there's still an error, it will display heater. This indicates it's been heated. After 36 seconds, play will switch from heater to cal. It indicates sensor has been calibrated. A few seconds later, your MTX-L Plus will begin displaying AFR. Since it's in free air, the gauge will default to the upper limit of 22.4. Ready? Sweep. Heater. Calibration 22.4. And it seems to dim, but only a little bit. We'll worry about that later. We're good. So I think that's enough of that malarkey for today. What we've got complete is basically the AFR system is now complete. Just bolted in the sensor itself. That's now in situ. It's in the same place as the original. Not ideal. Supposedly it should be further down, but we're not turbo, so I don't think it's going to cause us any major issues at this point. Sensors in. And so the next steps are now going to be mainly focused on the SpeedyEFI itself. So we're planning on doing the vacuum run that'll go from the intake into the near where the SpeedyEFI is going to get installed, the throttle position sensor, and the air intake temperature setup. So we're looking forward to getting those done. We'll also, once we're happy that the wiring's all good here, we'll return the interior to its original, even if it's just to kind of, so we don't lose all the screws and bits like that. Just a good idea to tidy up. Under here is still a bit of a mess, but I do need to put in the throttle position sensor, so until that's done, might as well just leave it as is, and then we can tidy up all those cables in one big go. So thanks for today. Hopefully more to do over the weekend.